Good morning, everyone. Yesterday I made a video lecture about faith and doubt. And I said that faith is like a state of being. I would like to continue with that topic because it's so important. I want you to see that emotion signifies a fall. If you lived spontaneously and flowed from within, you would have no need of emotion. No need for outside stimulation. You would simply observe and move spontaneously, seeing what is wise, what is fair, what is just, what is okay. You could have fun and have recreation and everything. Always you would just check with your conscience, and if there was nothing restraining you, then you could go ahead. If an opportunity comes along and nothing is restraining you, then you go ahead. The door opens and you go through and prosper, and it's all good. And yeah, sometimes things don't quite work out, but there's a lesson to be learned from it. Or it seems like things aren't working out, but they really are. I always give the example of someone who's rushing to catch an airline flight, and there's some kind of delay in traffic, and so they miss the flight, and then the plane crashes. You see what I mean? It had appeared to them that the delay because of traffic and missing the plane was a bad thing, but it was actually a good thing. You see what I mean? So sometimes you won't get one job because there's a better one. Or you get one job and it's not so good, but there's some lesson that you can learn there. You see what I mean? Or it's a timing thing. The right place to be is awaiting you, but it's not quite time. So something else comes along in the meantime. So you do the other thing and it seems like it's not working out. But it's because it's simply holding you until the right time is there for the other thing, which comes along in the fullness of time. Do you understand? So now let's get back to faith again and doubt. So can you see that when you fall into emotion, it means you somehow fell away from faith? You fell into reacting to the outside, responding to outside stimulation, responding to outside temptation or tease or taunt or challenge in some way. And then you felt what? You felt some kind of emotion, whether it was fear, or anger, or frustration, or resentment, or even excitement. See, we ought not need to be excited, like one man said so well. He said, we shouldn't need comedians to make us happy. You see what I mean? We should naturally be happy. I want to get to what I was saying today. I want to continue with talking about faith, how it's a state of being. But first, I want to continue with the idea of emotion being a fall. So I want you to see that when you fall, then you fall into emotion. But then once you are in emotion, it leads to thinking, and you get lost in thinking. But then the emotion somehow keeps you separated from faith, from your inner ground of good. So in other words, emotion sustains a state of doubt. It was doubt. When you doubted, you fell. But then when you fell into emotion and into thinking and trying to figure it out for yourself. See, trying to make things happen, trying to deal with something on your own. See, an ego struggling, then that's a faithless state. And then emotions rise to meet the struggle. You see that? In other words, an animal's emotion will rise when it has to run or fight, you see. But then the emotion somehow keeps you separated from faith. And so does being lost in the machinery of thinking. I gave the example on a recent talk of great scientists, so-called great scientists, who know a lot of factual things but are atheists. So, like I said, they don't even know what the smallest child can know. They're totally bankrupt. They totally lose all their common sense, all their intuition. So they're all knowledge and no common sense. Do you understand? All knowledge and no intuition. All knowledge, no understanding. All right, so now I want to read you something from the Bible. This is very beautiful. This is a story where Christ was walking upon the water. And here it goes. When the evening came, he was alone. He had gone to the mountain to pray. But the boat, he had sent the disciples out in a boat. The boat was already far from land, buffeted by the waves because of the wind was against it. During the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went out to them walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried in fear. But Jesus spoke up at once and said, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." "Lord, if it is you," Peter replied, "command me to come to you on the water." "Come," said Jesus. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the strength of the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and took hold of Peter. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" Now that's a very, very telling story. Did you notice that Peter was fine until he became afraid, and then he doubted? So I'm writing this morning something for a new book, and I said, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did doubt come first and then emotion, or did emotion come first and then doubt? Well, they both lead back and forth between each other. But I want you to see very clearly that it says, Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the strength of the wind, he was afraid. In other words, emotion separated him from faith. Do you understand? So now let's talk about faith as a state of being. I want to read you something now from the Khabouris manuscript, which is the translation of an Aramaic text of the New Testament, which was written in the Aramaic language. And this is translated by the Yonan Codex Foundation. This is Matthew chapter 5. When Jesus saw the crowds, he ascended the mount, and when he was seated, his disciples drew near. He began speaking and teaching them and said, "A heavenly attitude is theirs, those whose home is in the Spirit. Theirs is a heavenly state." Isn't that beautiful? A heavenly attitude is theirs. Those mourning their wrongs, they shall be comforted. A heavenly attitude is theirs. Those with humility, they will gain the earth. But I want you to see that he talks about a heavenly attitude and a heavenly state. So I would like to draw the analogy of being well. When you're well, you have a state of well-being, but you don't even notice it. You exercise, you work, you talk to your friends, you do all kinds of things, and you don't even pay attention to your health, really. You just go about your life. But then when you suddenly become sick, when you feel ill, then you think back to when you were healthy and you think, boy, that was really nice. I should have appreciated it more. Do you see? So a state of well-being, a state of health, you almost don't even notice it. It's just kind of nice. But then when things are not good, when you don't have a state of well-being, when you're ill, then you really notice it, don't you? And then you think back to how nice it had been when you were well. Do you see? So the natural state for a human being is carefree, spontaneous, and it's a state of well-being. That's the natural state. Being healthy, physically, mentally, and spiritually is the natural state. And when you are in that state and you have faith, you don't even know that you have faith. And you don't even really perhaps even notice that you're well. But you just are. It's beautiful. It's like when you were a little child and you jumped out of bed in the morning and ran through the house. It was just wonderful. You lived a day of adventure and discovery. It was only at rare moments that you didn't feel good. You know, when you became sick or somebody upset you. Notice the little child is not upset. Only when somebody upsets them. Somebody's pressuring them, teasing them, taunting them, accusing them. You see what I mean? Upsetting them. So it's a package deal. I like to use that term also. Faith, well-being, wisdom, confidence, patience, all of these beautiful things, happiness. It's a package deal. It comes from abiding close to your intuition, abiding in this heavenly state that Christ spoke of, abiding in this heavenly state. And it's when you fall from this heavenly state. So, if the natural state is one of health and of all the wonderful blessings of grace and health, if that's the natural state, if that's the natural state. If that's the natural state, then all you need do is stay in that state and not do the things. Can you see that not falling into anger, not falling into excitement, not falling into rage, not falling into resentment, not doing the wrong things, not going the wrong way? Can you see that that's the same as being in the right place? Not going the wrong way is going the right way. Not falling into reacting to things on the outside and experiencing emotion is being in the right place. So, all you have to do then is meditate. Begin today with a little meditation, the proper meditation, so that you can touch base with what comes from within. And then, close to this heavenly state, or in this heavenly state, you go out in the world, and then you watch. See, awareness is part and parcel of the heavenly state, and perception, and scrutiny. And so you watch. And in the past, this little thing could have irritated you, or that thing could have exasperated you, or this could have made you nervous, or that could have made you tense, or this could have made you angry. Do you see? Now you just let them pass. See? And you don't fall for the little temptations of aggravation. And so you remain calm. By not getting excited, by not getting upset, by not getting angry, you remain calm. And by remaining calm, then, you have patience. And in patience, you then have faith. You see what I mean? And then, when good things happen, you see the good things happening, and it was nothing that you did of yourself. And you wonder, how did this wonderful thing come to pass? And it's because of God there, see, assisting you. And then you realize that in the past, you always tried to make things happen and play God yourself and messed everything up. Now, you stand back and watch and wait until good happens, and then marvel at the good that comes into your life without effort on your part. So you must find this heavenly state, and you must abide in it, and watch out for those things that will make you fall. And yeah, when you're beginning your recovery, when you're coming back onto the path toward God, then yeah, you'll still make some little mistakes. God allows you to make some little mistakes so you can learn a lesson from them. And the other thing is that things will surface. Old emotions, old illnesses, old symptoms will rise. Old ideas that were wrong, they will rise to be observed in the present. So you will re-experience some of these symptoms, but only so that they can be seen in the light and healed in the light. Do you understand? So the most important thing is your meditation, which implements your being close to the light from your Creator, and then living in the natural state of well-being, of which Christ said, a heavenly attitude is theirs, those whose home is in spirit. Theirs is a heavenly state.